It's the now sound. It's what's happening.
On the 7th of April 2008, in Boston, Massachusetts, a national commission held its second regional hearing on federal abuse in the name of immigration enforcement. Following is a testimony given by Caroline Murray. Murray is the director of the Alliance to Develop Power, a community organization in Springfield, Massachusetts.
So this is only an example, one of many. And again, it happened on May 30th. 5 unmarked cars and 3 unmarked vans surrounded the home in the north end of Springfield. There were between 15 and 20 armed agents that came jumping out of the cars and immediately surrounded the house with their weapons drawn. There were 2 men standing outside, one of whom was Debbie's father. They immediately handcuffed them without identifying who they were or asking for the identification of the men who were in the yard. Only after they were handcuffed did they ask if one of them was Adonis Matizo, in fact, one of them was. He had a deportation order. While they were shackling the 2 men in front of the home outside on the side of the road, they demanded to be given a key to enter the home, and the men did not provide them with the key. They searched the men's pockets and their purses. They then searched the yard because they thought that one of the men had thrown the key into the yard. They didn't find the key. The 2 men were put into one of the cars, and the rest of the officers surrounded the house, to the front door and the back door. 6 officers were pounding on the front door to this duplex, and 4 were on the back. After about 5 minutes, a 14-year-old boy opened the first floor door because he was afraid it was going to be broken down. The officers pushed their way in without providing, again, any identification, without having a warrant, without giving a badge or saying who they were, and they pushed the 14-year-old boy into a chair in the corner of the kitchen, screaming at him and demanding to know where the rest of the household occupants were. They had their weapons drawn at this time. There was a woman and a 2-year-old child, American-born child, cooking at the stove. They forced her and her baby into a chair and left the food boiling on the stove. They were screaming at them, and the child started to cry, and the officer screamed, "Shut up." They then ransacked the home, searching it from top to bottom. There was another woman and a baby in the shower who they demanded be taken out of the shower, and they should not come out of the building and seize her. She came out, she was wearing a small robe, and they forced her to sit on the couch, and her baby was naked and wet. They then continued to the back of the home where they found 2 men sleeping, who they seized out of their beds and brought into the living room. The food on the stove started to burn, and the woman who was sitting in the chair in the kitchen tried to get up and turn it off. And the one man who spoke Spanish screamed at her, "Sit down, don't make it worse for yourself than it already is." They proceeded to handcuff and shackle the men who were in the home. They told the women they were going to let them off easy because they had babies. Then the officers continued to find timely access to the 2nd floor apartment. They found a back door that connected the 2 apartments, and they illegally went up to the 2nd floor. They found the door there, and they started pounding on it. They broke the knob on the door, but there was a chain on the door, so they were not able to gain access to the 2nd floor apartment. There were 2 women and 2 children who were hiding in the bathroom with a locked door behind the shower curtain, holding their hands over their children's mouths. And lo, that was one of them. Meanwhile, 2 other officials in the car pulled over a car that had been leaving the house prior to the raid began down the street from the gas station. There was no reason to pull over this car other than racial profiling. They took a woman and her husband out of the car, shackled them and handcuffed them on the side of the street without identifying themselves, without providing a warrant. They searched the car as well. At this point, 6 people who had been detained from the house, the yard, and this car down the street, all of whom were shackled and handcuffed, were driven around the corner to an abandoned parking lot where an auto body shop was. They were held there in the vans and processed in these vans. They were kept there for over 4 hours. There was never any water or food provided to them, nor any documentation or deportation orders to why they were being arrested. The woman who had been arrested at the gas station was then released, and she walked home. They released her because she had a child who was waiting for her at daycare. So she arrived to pick up her child about 5 hours later. The people were taken to Wyatt, a maximum security facility in Rhode Island. They were kept in 23-hour lockdown. They were only allowed to be removed for 1 hour a day. The toilet touched the bed. They reported to us, and again, we are in close contact with every member that I was speaking about, that there were officers that were coming to people almost every hour trying to force them to sign documents that were written in English, telling them that they would stay there and rot forever unless they signed the documents. After all of this, we did manage to represent 2 of the men and try to have the evidence that was gained by the illegal search and seizure suppressed because of constitutional violations. The judge actually agreed that perhaps there had been constitutional violations as part of this search, but that it was not egregious enough to suppress the evidence. And the 2 men were given voluntary departure. The rest of the people that I'm referring to were deported. And I'd just like to close with a quote from Robert Matthew Brown, the Protestant theologian. And it says, "What you see depends on where you stand. What you hear depends on who you listen to. Who you are depends on what you do." And I thank you all for doing what you do.
This is Kyle DeBosset from Citizen Orange signing off.